Hi, welcome to another episode of Force for Growth Live. I'm Ricardo.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Courtney, and thank you for joining us. And before we get started, Force for Growth is now on Instagram and all the platforms, but do find us on Instagram and Facebook and like and follow and share. We would much appreciate it, but thank you for joining
Yes, at Force for Growth.
at
So
Force for Growth. Thank
make
you.
sure you
Yep.
like and share. Wow, another week, guys. It's January 8th, 8 days into the new year, new lessons, new week. What did we learn this week? What did we learn about ourselves? What did we learn about life? What do you got, Courtney?
Okay, trust. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself? So that was a big I think this lesson's been coming for a long time, but just kind of all things as I entered the new year and looked at where am I weak still? Where do I need to strengthen? Where, kind of my analysis. Yeah, I have an issue with trusting myself with just little things. And anyway, anxiety and certain loops that run just route back to that. And so instead of focusing on all kinds of things, just one thing all week. And so it was just, and could, I'm working on some bigger things. So I just focused on trust in myself in that I'll come up with a solution. I'll work, because I work in insurance, but I'm in an independent agency. So I have a lot of options with different companies I can work with, but there still will be situations of finding, I mean, you have to be a hunter to find solutions for these problems. And that's what I'm good at. And so, yeah, yesterday I got what I feel like is a reward for really diving deep there. And just, I'd been networking with a certain source and got a call to see if I could quote a certain commercial auto. And let's just say it's like it could top my biggest month I had last year with just one policy. And so you want to talk about that scary? It's absolutely scary. You really have to trust yourself, but I also have a net of resources and tools and mentors and expertise and people I can call and people I can say, "Hey, can you look over this with me? Hey, can I practice this pitch on you?" So it's just keep going. Keep one foot in front of the other. I know that sounds cliche, but one foot in front of the other. That means not getting paralyzed with the fear, not letting it sit there and, knock you down. So I am over the moon right now and we're wrapping that up this morning. And so, yeah, I am going to sell the highest policy I've ever sold, which now I want to go after those type of businesses because I'm good at it, because I practice it, because it's a skill. So that's my lesson of the week. And yay, big day ahead. So
Trusting
I'm
yourself is so
excited.
important.
It is.
Trusting
Good job,
yourself is so
Courtney.
important.
Thank
Yeah, really good job.
Thank you very much.
For me, I've been practicing breathing. I've been practicing breathing through my nose and diaphragmatic breathing because there's so many health benefits that go with that, like your lymph system and all this other stuff. It cleanses your body. It does all sorts of really good stuff that I kind of forgot about, but when I read it, I was like, man, that sounds good just by simply controlling your breathing. And it's just breathing through your nose and then breathing out through your mouth. So I've been very conscious and cognizant and intentionally breathing through my nose. And what I've noticed lately is my energy has skyrocketed. I feel like I have more energy now than I had before. My endurance on the treadmill and when I work out now, I feel that it's even better than it was before. And now I'm starting to see the benefits of just consistently breathing through my nose. And the other side effect that has happened from this is I feel calmer. I never really suffered anxiety, but I do get overexcited, right? And overwhelmed at times. And those feelings of overwhelm are further in between than they were before because of the breathing through my nose. And that's because when you have anxiety, the first thing that you do, what do? You breathe through your mouth. It's always these big, right? And that kind of inflames and turns up the anxiety. But if it's a nice calm breath through your nose, you're automatically just nicely calming yourself naturally. And there's just all sorts of other great things. There's a great book on this called Breathe if you want to look into it. I can't think of the author off the top of my head, but the book is called Breathe. And that's been the biggest thing. And to me, that's a great reminder of just because you start something You're not going to see the rewards of it immediately. It takes a little bit of time because I've been consciously doing this for over a month now. Every day, I'm breathing through my nose. I'm watching TV, watching my breath and breathing through my nose. And now I'm finally starting to see and feel the benefits of it. So just keep implementing, keep doing it. The rewards come, especially if it's scientifically proven.
Yeah. Is this the one? Breathe with a yellow cover?
Uh,
I don't know. Can we see that? Breathe. This
I
one's
don't
by
know.
James
The it's
Nestor. Okay.
is the foreword by Tony Robbins.
Let's see. I'll report back. Michelle, what you got? I'm going to find out that author for you guys, though.
So, Ricardo, I'm going to add on to your lesson of the week, and then I'll talk about my lesson of the week. But y'all know I love Andrew Huberman, and one of the things I've learned from him. By the way, he has a new podcast. It's awesome, and listening to that, one of the things that I learned on breathing is that if you're wanting to increase your heart rate, build excitement, you want to focus on the inhale. If you want to calm and decrease your heart rate, calm yourself down, focus on the exhale because you're letting CO2, you're expelling CO2 so out of your body, and so that will actually calm your heart rate. It also creates space for your heart. So literally creates physical space in your body for your heart. And whenever you inhale and you're doing more deep inhale breaths, it constricts that space in your body. So it constricts the space around your heart. So recap, whenever you want to speed up, um, get hyped up, then focus on deeper inhales. And whenever you want to calm down, focus on longer exhales. That's something I learned that can add on to your lesson, Ricardo.
Thank
Yes,
you,
it's
Michelle.
I always exhale longer than I do the inhale.
And that'll calm you.
Yep,
Mhm.
and that's
Awesome.
what
There's a
it's
bunch of,
always just a little bit longer than the inhale.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
get
I've
all
been
that old
calmer.
air out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And that it looks like Dan Brule with a forward by Tony Robbins. Sorry, my directional. Dan Brule is the book he is referring to.
Yes,
Cool.
just breathe by Dan Brule.
Just breathe. So,
Just
my
breathe.
lesson of the week is simplicity. And that is something I just started a new job this week. And so, this is my first week. And I am a health coach, and I've been doing that for the last 2.5 years full time. And now I started an accounting job that's full time. And so, I knew that I was going to have to figure out how to fit it all in and make it work without being stressed. And so I really started focusing on simplifying and letting go of the things that are not serving me or not working toward my goals. And then this opportunity came up, which was the timing was perfect and it's amazing. And I'm so excited. And this week has gone really well. I'm still figuring out my schedule, but because I simplified, it created space, like we just talked about, creating space for Ryan says, create space for blank. All that phrase is like ice cream to him. But it created space to allow me to take on this new opportunity and not be overwhelmed. And so, but what I did is I looked at everything that I was doing when I did my vision board this year. I made it interactive and I put measurables on there that I can measure throughout the year to see where I am each month or each week or whatever on the way to specific goals that I've set for this year. And one of those things is leaving space, like checking myself to make sure that I am not overwhelmed because I have a tendency to take on too much. But when I cleared the slate and I made sure that all of the things that I had on my plate were things that literally were taking me toward my goals and I got rid of everything else, it just like immediately created that space and took away the stress. And so I've been able to take on a full-time job on top of what I was already doing and not be stressed out this week. So create space,
Nice.
simplify.
Great
Nice.
point.
You mentioned something, Michelle, that I think happens especially right now at the first of the year. Taking on too much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Taking on too much. I think it's just natural for people to want to do everything at one time. And it's okay not to have to do everything. However, I decided recently because I've seen a lot. I'm fixing to contradict myself so big here, but that's okay, right? We're having an honest discussion. Um, I saw a lot of people, a lot of my friends starting the 75 hard challenge, and it's like an hour and a half workout and all this other stuff, right? But the big thing about it is 2 45-minute workouts. That's the big thing, which is an hour and a half, right? And I got invited to do it, and I was like, I'm not really interested in that because currently I don't even do 45-minute workout, and I'm not just gonna jump all the way to an hour and a half. So I thought to myself, I was like, okay, so am I capable of doing 45 minutes or even an hour of a workout? Am I capable of doing that? Let me challenge myself to do that. Remember, on Mondays, we talk about challenges, right? Um, so I started exercising for an hour every day, an hour a day. So I'll do 1 mile on the treadmill, I'll do 22 minutes on the rower, and then finish off with about 20-25 minutes on the bicycle. And I'll get my hour in. And I have to say, it's not easy. It's not easy. And that's just an hour. And I'm like, I'm still needing 30 more minutes if I was going to do 75 hard. But I'm still getting used to getting that hour. And yes, I went from 20 to 30 to an hour. That's a huge jump, especially when it comes to working out. So I don't recommend taking on too much, but there's a fine line between taking on too much and challenging yourself. There's a fine line. There's a fine line on pushing yourself just a little bit harder than you have been pushing yourself in the past and staying where you currently are.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ryan mentioned he asked, he said, is that's the same as the pulse checks you're doing? And I talked about that on our 6 a.m. call. It's something that I've started doing in the last month where once a week I look at the things that I'm doing to make sure I don't get in that overwhelmed state. And it's really helping. But Ryan, to answer your question, the pulse check is what led to the simplicity that opened up the space to allow me to take on this new opportunity without being overwhelmed. And now the pulse check, what that will do is each week make sure that I'm not taking on too many things to where I get overwhelmed.
I love that. Because we don't have to be great at everything. We don't have to get it all done. We just
Mhm.
need to get the important things done, get our musts done, make sure we prioritize it. But I mean, if you're living it the opposite way, that's why you're getting burnt out. That's why you're getting overwhelmed. These phrases, and I'm talking to Courtney right now. So, FYI, I really appreciate the simplicity lesson in that because I could benefit from that a lot. But yeah, just stop boxing yourself in.
So here's the question. You just said, Courtney, you made a great point talking about you don't have to be great. But at some point you have to try new stuff and you have to push yourself a little bit more versus thinking, oh, that's too much and that's going to overwhelm me. You still have to push yourself a little bit more to figure out that you're pushing yourself too much.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think that the way to kind of navigate that is to check your energy, which is what I do on my pulse check that I'm doing every week now. Because whenever you're doing things that don't serve you or that are not on your path, your energy is going to decline and you're going to feel that and you're going to have stress, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have negative chemicals pumping through your body, and that's a sign that you need to shift something. But you can be crazy busy. You can have a lot on your plate and it be fun and not create stress in your life. It can create healthy stress, but not those, it can, like adrenaline and things like that. Those are good for you and they're okay. And it's okay to have a lot on your plate as long as it's things that are leading to the life that you desire that you're trying to build. And so if you have those negative chemicals of stress and anxiety, frustration, that's a sign. Pay attention. That's feedback. But when you're pushing yourself in a way that creates adrenaline that is exciting, that lets you know you're on the right path. And that is, challenges are great. Challenges are fun. Um, as long as they're leading you down the path you're supposed to be on. But if they're taking you away from the path you're supposed to be on, that's where stress comes in.
And the key
Yeah.
there is, like Michelle just said, you have to try it in order to figure out if it's taking you towards or away from your path.
Yeah, and then pivot quickly. Like, if
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
hesitate to pivot.
This
You're
isn't
either
theory.
growing or you're dying.
This isn't
Either way.
theory. You can't sit there and think about it and be like, okay, if I do that, is that going to take me closer or further away? You actually have to go do it and try. Otherwise, you're never really truly going to know the answer.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself in that situation before you truly know the answer. We can theorize and hypothesize all day long. And where's that going to get us, ladies?
2 steps backwards, if at all.
No,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the truth is that I know this to be a fact, especially for myself, is that I'll spend more time thinking,
Mhm.
theorizing, and hypothesizing about it than just going out and doing it.
Half the
Yeah.
time it could already be done if you would just stop overthinking
Correct.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I could already have gone and tried it and been like, okay, yeah, this isn't for me. With the
Yeah.
Yeah.
amount of time that I would spend thinking about doing it, if it's going to help me or help or hinder.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And have you ever spent so much time planning something a certain way, and the second you start it and get a peek into the actual world of that thing, you're like, would have done it all wrong. Okay,
Mhm.
reframe, clean off the whiteboard, let's replan. So if you're fearful to take that step, you got to reframe it into, you know, afraid of wasting years on something that won't work. Like, love yourself enough to look at an eye and know for a fact, logically, reality, is this for me? And if not, pivot. Done. Like, there's no emotion attached to it. I love how Michelle did pivot, pivot, because she lifts her voice when she says it, So it's like this optimistic thing, but it is. This is a high five. Good job. You figured out that was not for you, and you changed, or
That's a
you
win
altered
right
it.
there. Yeah.
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 I keep on thinking about Friends, the couch episode, and Ross when they're trying to take the couch up the stairs, and he's like, pivot, pivot, pivot. That's the only thing that I think of whenever I hear the word pivot now. Talk about conditioning.
Yeah.
Ryan says, let the reporters ask the questions, let the critics do their thing. While they're doing it, go create something else.
Boom.
You got to
Yeah.
get in the creative
Yes.
space. Oh
Yeah.
man, can we talk about for a minute about how important it is to creating something in your life?
Yeah.
How important is that to
Well, if
get
you're
in the
not
space of creation?
creating, you're by default going backwards in your life. And I
Yeah.
mean that as in, okay, Michelle, you just started a new job. That's creation. That's excitement. That's life force energy. She gets passionate when she talks about it. So that is growth. Whereas you're either growing or dying. Like, I don't know how to say it any more simple, but that's a Tony Robbins quote. So your idea, either you're building it up or it's dying by default. Like, there's no, let me just set it on the shelf here. Elizabeth Gilbert in Big Magic tells a story about how she had a plan to write a book and planned it and waited and planned and waited and planned. And a friend of hers wrote almost the same book. They had never discussed it. So there's also this idea that I want to throw out there that, like, ideas, there's a theory that they kind of, the universe, God, whatever you want to use for it, but throws out ideas to the universe, and the first one to pick it up and grab it. So you'll hear stories throughout history of, two people on opposite sides of the world get the exact same idea around the same time. So I do believe in that personally, but to each his own. So it's like, when you think about it that way, like, it's got a lifespan, and the clock is ticking. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm in there, but yeah, the
Man, when you said the
time is
clock is
short on it.
clicking, it's like, wow, it is. The clock never stops ticking.
Mm-mm.
It never
And this
stops.
is not a dress rehearsal, so stop thinking it is. Like,
I'll get it right next time. Wait,
yeah,
what? Oh, I'll try that next time. Wait, what? What next time? This is it.
yeah,
This is it. There's no next time. This is it. Like Courtney just said, life is not a dress rehearsal. This
sorry,
is it.
passionate about this.
Yeah.
So I have a nice story that I want to share. Earlier this week, Jessie went grocery shopping and everything else, and I asked when she goes grocery shopping, I'll ask her. I'll say, "Hey, bring me back a surprise. Bring me back a surprise." And she'll bring me back something small, whatever it is, maybe a meal that we haven't had in a long time. And this time I said, "Hey, babe, bring me back a surprise, something that I wouldn't buy for myself." I was very specific about it. And she came back with this Ghostbuster shirt and MTV pajamas bottoms.
I love it.
And she came home with it, and she's like, "Look at what I got." And I was like, "Wow, I really would not buy that for myself." And I was super excited that she came back with this little surprise for me. And it just, I don't know, it just did something for me. I just felt overwhelmed. It was just this overwhelming feeling of gratitude and love. Not because of the materialistic, because of the thought that she put into it. She put a lot of thought into it, and I'm so appreciative for her, and for her just literally surprising me with something that I would not buy for myself.
I think that's another lesson for the week is really the thought is what the thought it's the thought that counts. That's so true because you can you can, you know, give an extravagant gift and spend a whole bunch of money that doesn't have a lot of thought put into it, or you can really put some thought into it and give something small and it means so much more.
It does.
Yeah.
It was so
And
big.
it's not what I hear is y'all took a mundane task like going to the grocery store and y'all created a magic moment out of it.
Oh, it was
Y'all created
definitely,
a
yes.
connection on
Mhm.
something revolving around groceries. So life is not as dull as we act like it is. Come on, guys.
Yes. Go create a magic moment, guys. It doesn't take much effort. It doesn't take much effort, and it definitely doesn't take a lot of money.
Yeah.
Magic moments are the key, and I'll be the first one to admit, oh my gosh, this is a big secret, y'all. I don't say this to anybody, but
It's just us two.
obviously I love Ghostbusters. That's a given, right? Being an '80s kid, okay, big deal. Is anybody listening? Is anybody watching? It's just the three of us, right?
Right. Just us. No
I'm
secret.
addicted to MTV The Challenge. I've
Oh,
been
that brings
watching
back
that
memories.
for how long has it been on? 30 years? I've been
Yeah.
watching this show for 30 years, guys.
Is it
Shh,
still good?
shh.
I don't know that I've seen it.
Don't tell nobody though. It's the best show, Michelle. Don't get hooked into it. You'll be watching it for 30 more years.
Man.
I
But
might
there's
not add
just
that to my plate, and
do not a-
it doesn't push me toward my goals.
no, but I sit there
It
and
puts
What
look at
my
these
there?
guys
pulse
and I'm
check.
like, man, I think I want to go try that. I want to go hang from a truck and from the side of a truck and try to put letters together.
Yeah.
So I don't talk about that in public, by the way. That's a big, big,
Hey.
big, big, big secret.
I think we all have something we watch or listen to or entertain ourselves with that is something we're like, we're just gonna keep that to ourselves. So
With that said, if anybody
yeah,
knows Johnny Bananas or CT, get us in touch because I would love to have him on the show for an interview.
we have some openings. Yes. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Ugh.
Man, would you go on the show if you got an invitation to go on a reality show that you're addicted to like that? Would you take them up on it?
Okay, so I thought about this. Oh, that sounds so, like now I like
Hey,
literally,
you
guys. The
brought it
sweat,
up.
like the I know I brought it up, but now the sweat is like coming up. Now you're getting deep, Courtney. I feel myself getting sweaty and uncomfortable.
We love you. You'll
But
be
this is how
okay.
much thought I've put into this. I would not be interested on going on the show as a participant, but I do feel that they need a life coach on set. I do feel they need a life coach and someone to talk to them and inspire them to
You're
help them
right.
compete.
Man,
Okay, now
you should
that's
offer that service,
that's
except for you have a
creating
job and projects, but yeah. So
that's an idea. It's out there. Don't let somebody else take it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like watching it. I'm like, man, I could so help them with that part. They need a life coach
you
on
could fit
set.
it
To be
in because
honest
they
with you.
don't film all around. Yeah,
No,
that
they
could work.
don't. They just film a couple of times a week. But then I would also be like the certain tasks. I'd be like, I would like to go try that, but I would like to pick and choose, not be forced to do it.
Yeah,
And as a life coach, I would not get eliminated. Boom. So I would
yeah,
be there the whole time throughout the whole
there you
thing.
go. That's smart.
Big brain, big brain. That's what Sebastian says. Big brain.
Big
Oh,
brain.
I like that.
Big brain.
Oh, well,
Ah, great
but I'll
episode,
throw it out
guys.
there. Hey,
So
I'm
much
a
fun.
housewife addict, so don't worry. It's all we all have a reality show, but that one, I love that. Is that where you got the word challenge from?
No,
Did you get the idea? Okay. Does that
no,
say, is this for a monthly theme camp? Just kidding.
no. It came no, but there you go. Great
Okay, God.
episode. Freestyle
Yes,
Friday. Lessons for the week. Tune in, like and share. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Force for Girls.
yes.
And we'll be back on Monday, guys.
Yeah.
Have,
Thank you
have
for
a
joining
great
us.
weekend.
Bye, y'all. Remember, big
Bye.
brain. Big
Big
brain.
brain. I
Big
like that.
brain.
Thanks so
Bye,
much.
y'all.